Yeah, absolutely. So the 5 M's of motivation at Next Level University, they are as follows. The first one is mating slash romance. This is someone who really wants to have a great marriage or a great intimate relationship. This is someone who really wants to build a family. And we all have all 5 of these, but we have a different syntax, a different order, right? So I'll give you my syntax just for example. So for me, mating slash romance is probably number 3. Okay, so the first one is mating slash romance. I'll give them all first, then I'll give my syntax. Okay, so mating slash romance, someone who really cares a lot about an intimate relationship, and that's what motivates them most. Having a great family and having a great home and having a great intimate relationship. Okay. The second one is mastery slash status. This is someone who wants to be the best at what they do. This is someone who really enjoys the process of getting better at their craft. So for me, Brigitte, even before I came on this show, I was in the bathroom because I had a podcast before this and I was just taking a minute and I was thinking to myself, okay, what do I want to make sure I do? Okay, all right, I want to give my best on this podcast and I want to practice effective communication. So I'm very mastery driven. I have something called the 25 impact points of effective communication. One of them is tonality. One of them is storytelling. One of them is, but ultimately I want to be a very, very, very effective communicator. Because to me, that's how you can change people's lives. Okay, so mastery slash status is someone who is very craft driven. They care a lot about their body of work. They usually care a lot about their career. They really, really, really like getting good at stuff. They can't stand it when they don't do things well. They want to do things with a lot of mastery. Okay, the third one is movement slash freedom. This is a big one for me as well. Movement slash freedom is someone who is very, very, very motivated by making sure they design a life where no one can tell them what to do. Okay, so they want to have enough money in the bank to where they can do pretty much what they want, when they want, as much as they want, with whoever they want. This is a lot of entrepreneurs are very, very, very motivated by movement slash freedom. They want to make sure. I think that the entrepreneur doesn't have a boss thing is probably a little inaccurate because technically your customers and your clients are your boss. The entrepreneurs say they want to work for themselves. And I said, well, technically you work for your customers and your clients. Did that resonate?
Think I'm number 2 and 3.
Okay, nice. All
right,
right,
I'll say 70% is number 3, but I haven't heard since it's 5. I'm waiting for the remaining.
Okay, nice. Good.
Judge.
So self-awareness is super important. So Brigitte right now in real time is self-assessing what motivates her most. Okay, so far freedom is a big one. All right, the next one is money slash materials. This is someone who really wants a big home and a really nice car. This is someone who likes, nice clothes and watches and that kind of stuff. And I'm not making that wrong. That's definitely not mine, but it's someone who really wants nice things. They really like luxury stuff. Okay, money slash materials. And then I think it should probably be materials slash money because technically money can also be used for mastery and for freedom and all that kind of stuff. So we'll call it materials slash money. All right, the fifth one is the rarest. And the fifth one, so picture a car with 5 cylinders. We all have all 5 of these M's of motivation, but we have a couple that drive the engine most. And the metaphor here is if you want your car to get to the destination, you need to fire on all 5 cylinders. It doesn't mean you need to care about them equally, but you need to make sure all 5 are firing. And this last one is the one that a lot of people don't have firing. And I didn't have this one firing until I was 26. This last one is mission slash purpose. You can call it mission, you can call it purpose, you can call it calling, you can call it whatever you want. But it's something bigger than yourself. You are playing for a purpose beyond yourself. And it's more than passion. Passion is I love movies. Purpose is I'm going to create films that inspire others to XYZ. Okay? So passion is something you do. Purpose is something you do to help the world. Okay? So my mission is to help bring self-improvement to the masses. I'm trying to spread self-improvement. That's why I'm here right now. Okay? You are into self-improvement. You're into goal achievement. You and your listeners are spreading that message. That's beautiful. That's why I'm here. So mission slash purpose is the last M of motivation. And that's the one that I think a lot of people, unfortunately, don't tap into, but that's the one with the most juice. Okay, so I'll go over them again. And it's very important to understand your syntax. Okay, so the first one is mating slash romance. The second one is movement slash freedom. The third one is materials slash money. The fourth one is mastery slash status. And the fifth one is mission slash purpose. So those are the 5 cylinders in your car. And you got to make sure, you got to basically figure out, okay, what are the syntax that I have? So for me, mission slash purpose is by far the biggest. Next would be mastery for sure. Materials is very low. I don't really care that much, to be honest. Movement slash freedom is pretty big, and then mating slash romance is pretty big. The only one that doesn't resonate with me that much is the materials one. You know, I have a nice car, I have a nice home, but beyond that, I don't care that much about shiny stuff. Like I have an Apple Watch and that kind of thing. But whereas my business partner, Kevin, he drives a BMW. Like he wants a really nice car. He cares a lot more about materials than I do.
Yeah. So can there be an instance where, let's say, you love material things when it is high? When it is high, does it really affect your zeal to do more or to achieve your dreams or something like that?
Well, I think that the more that you reach your own standard in any one of these, that's when the ignition kicks off. So it's kind of like a thermostat in a house. So right now my thermostat is set to 68 degrees. As soon as it goes to 75 degrees, it'll kick the AC on and bring it down to 68. If it gets really cold and it gets to 60 degrees, it's going to kick the heaters on and get it to 68. So I think that unconsciously we step on or off the gas depending on whether or not we're actually meeting our needs in those areas. And that's why it's really important for that mission slash purpose one to be there, because that's the mountain that gets higher as you climb it. So mastery, for example, it's an infinite game. So the difference between an infinite game and a finite game, an infinite game is I want to be a great chess master. I want to be the best chess player I can be. A finite game is one chess match. And life, I think, is a series of finite games within an infinite game. So you never actually arrive. That's the irony about this. It's the journey, not the destination, but the destination you choose in advance dictates the journey. Well, what happens when you get to LA? From Boston to LA, what happens when you get to LA? Do you stop the journey? Do you stop living? No, you set another journey. And so life is a mountain that gets higher as you climb it. And that also goes for these 5 motivations. And that's why you have to find a way to motivate yourself consistently, because a lot of times what happens is you achieve your goals and then you're not motivated. And now you have to set a new standard. So we had a really big quarter, and I'm definitely above my normal set point, my normal standard for money in the bank. And I'm very grateful for that. But one thing that I've noticed is I'm stepping off the gas a little bit. I'm starting to ease up a bit. So the work ethic and the motivation that brought the very high income is now I'm stepping off the gas unconsciously because I'm abundant, I'm comfortable. So we got to be real careful of these comfort zones. You got to make sure that you set yourself up in a way where you're constantly as motivated as possible. So for me, the goal is not just to hit my quarterly goals. The goal is to hit the quarterly goal and then up the ante, and then hit that quarterly goal and then up the ante. Because the goal underneath the goal underneath the goal is to actually become the type of man that has maximized his own unique potential and greatest level of contribution.
Okay, that's great. I wanted to know this with the levels or the choices of the rules of motivation. How can we add this rules plus emotions to achieve our goals?
Well, the first thing is to figure out the syntax. So everyone out there watching or listening, I'll give you the 5 M's, and I'll do it without the second one so it'll be easier. So one of them is mastery, one of them is mating, one of them is movement, one of them is materials, and one of them is mission. So put those in order and then figure out what important goal to you would be under each of those. And then once they're in order, let's say mission is number 1 for you. Okay, what would have to happen? What would be a good goal for your mission? Okay, well, I want to reach 1,000 people with my podcast. Okay, good. That's your number 1 goal. So it's not that we have the wrong goals. It's that we have our goals in the wrong order, and we're trying to do 50 things at once instead of 5. So for me, my most important goal, I only have 3 goals per quarter.